It is crucial to pay attention, as this situation is far from random. A person wielding genuine influence, adept at discerning human behavior, patterns, and psychological pressure, has already observed you, not for what you display, but for what you choose to conceal. They have discerned a duality that most individuals seldom reveal concurrently: control and depth. The emergence of these traits together defies expectations, capturing attention in a manner that can either elevate or expose you, contingent upon your understanding of the unfolding events. This insight is vital since power rarely seeks out the loud or the overly confident. Instead, it is drawn to steadiness amid uncertainty. You refrain from hastily justifying your actions or reacting emotionally when faced with ambiguity. You observe, you regulate, you act with purpose. These characteristics are not mere personality traits, they represent quantifiable behaviors examined in the fields of psychology and leadership science. They indicate an individual worthy of trust when the stakes are high. The insights you are about to receive are not motivational, they are educational. You will come to comprehend the nature of attention from those in power, including why it frequently manifests as silence and pressure rather than accolades. You will learn why certain individuals recede while seemingly trivial decisions take on newfound significance. This knowledge is imperative, for once you are noticed, you are also subject to evaluation. Understanding this allows you to remain grounded and transform this moment into an advantage, rather than a source of anxiety. Failing to recognize the dynamics at play risks misinterpreting the situation and inadvertently closing doors you were unaware were open. This pattern resonates through history, echoing the sentiment expressed in Matthew 22 verse 14, "For many are called, but few are chosen." You have not merely been summoned amidst the din, you have been selected. Selected for what remains unspoken, for what requires no validation. This distinction transforms everything. Stay attentive. For what you are about to grasp will influence your future trajectory. Before we proceed, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe in pursuit of 5,000 remarkable subscribers, and comment with the number 99. Contrary to the common belief that recognition is born of noise, flattery, and sudden exposure, true power operates in silence. When someone of influence takes notice, there is often no announcement, no clear signal, no validation. The transition occurs subtly, nearly imperceptibly, and therein lies its significance. Power observes prior to engagement, scrutinizing how you behave when you think no one of consequence is watching. This phase of silent observation is grounded in behavioral psychology. It exposes a person's authentic patterns when they feel unseen, how they respond under pressure, whether they crave approval, and how they navigate uncertainty. Those versed in the ways of power understand that performance in the spotlight lacks reliability. What truly matters is your conduct when the audience is absent. If you have garnered silent attention, it implies that your baseline behavior, not your effort, was what distinguished you. This realization may be disconcerting, and it is intentionally so. It suggests that your acknowledgement did not stem from striving but rather from exhibiting consistency, composure, and internal organization. Such an authentic presence does not resonate loudly. It hums quietly. Zechariah 4 verse 10 conveys wisdom in this regard: "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." Your unnoticed steady resolve, the effort lacking applause, the restraint unrecognized. This was the initiation power awaited, not an overt display. Those in influential positions are attuned to this frequency. Talent is unambiguous, it announces itself, but power is seldom captivated by it. What garners attention is the tension inherent within an individual who has not fully unleashed their potential. This is distinct from anxiety or confusion. It embodies a restrained intensity, a sensing that something is deliberately or instinctively held back. This tension is a rarity and infinitely more captivating than raw skill. Within psychological frameworks, this relates closely to self-regulation and impulse control. Studies consistently reveal that individuals capable of delaying expression, gratification, or impulsive reactions tend to excel in complex settings. Power structures rely on this trait, as individuals who expend their energy publicly leave nothing in reserve. Conversely, those who exercise restraint signal depth, strategy, and an awareness of timing. Consider Steve Jobs' approach to meetings at Apple. He would often sit in silence for extended periods, focusing on observation rather than premeditating his statements. He assessed who would fill the silence first, who would contribute eagerly, and who remained composed. Those who rushed to break that silence exposed their need for validation. They sought acknowledgement for their contributions. Meanwhile, those who patiently endured the discomfort without the compulsion to perform earned his trust for pivotal decisions. Jobs grasped an essential truth: the individual who struggles with silence cannot contend with uncertainty, and within that uncertainty lies the essence of significant decision-making. Should you require constant affirmations, you will falter when clarity eludes you. However, if you can endure ambiguity, you become indispensable. This reality may explain past moments of feeling misunderstood, for many misinterpret restraint as indecision or a lack of confidence. Yet, to someone grounded in power dynamics and long-term influence, such restraint conveys that you are controlling something internally, be it strength, insight, or ambition, rather than carelessly releasing it. This is precisely what those in power recognize. Most individuals externalize their thoughts, emotions, plans, and fears. They verbalize to alleviate pressure rather than communicate with precision. When individuals possessing power observe this behavior, they perceive predictability. However, upon encountering you, they see something entirely different. You do not rush to clarify yourself, nor do you fill silence merely for comfort. You restrain your expressions intentionally. This behavior yields measurable impacts in social dynamics. Research regarding conversational dominance indicates that individuals who speak less but with intention are often perceived as more competent and authoritative. Silence compels others to project, divulge, and compensate. By withholding, you were not disengaged, rather, you skillfully controlled the exchange without necessitating dominance. This does not equate to secrecy for the sake of mystique, it embodies discernment. You seem to grasp, consciously or otherwise, that not every thought necessitates expression and not every emotion warrants exposure. This ability instills gravitas, thereby altering how people orient themselves in your presence, particularly those trained to detect power signals. Consider, for illustration, a high-stakes negotiation scenario. While others assert their cases, presenting spreadsheets, credentials, and justifications for their requests, you remain composed. You listen intently, take notes, and resist the urge to perform. When you pose a single clarifying question, you allow silence to linger, creating discomfort for others but not for yourself. They inadvertently begin to reveal more than they had intended, justifying aspects you did not challenge, negotiating against themselves, and offering concessions you never sought. You engage in manipulation through abstaining from urgency. You refuse to mirror their anxiety, maintaining your ground without the need for defense. This exemplifies the action of restraint and elucidates why agreements often shift in favor of individuals who govern the tempo rather than the volume. This dynamic surfaces again in job interviews, conflict resolution, and personal relationships. The individual who remains placid while others escalate, who can listen without the immediate need to win, naturally garners influence not through volume but through stability. Stability magnetizes when chaos reigns around it. A clear indicator of psychological maturity is the capacity to observe without hurriedly seeking acknowledgement or validation. You watch, you listen, you process, yet you do not rush to be recognized for it. This alone sets you apart from the majority. The behavior seeking validation is readily identifiable and quickly diminishes perceived value in high-level environments. From a cognitive standpoint, this denotes strong internal referencing. Rather than relying on external validation to affirm your comprehension, you prioritize your interpretation. This is not synonymous with arrogance, rather, it embodies internal stability. Individuals in positions of power actively search for this, recognizing that unstable individuals become liabilities in high-stakes circumstances. This trait may also explain the slight dissonance you might feel in the presence of louder personalities. They thrive on being acknowledged, while you find clarity in understanding. This difference is substantial, shaping decision-making processes, risk assessments, and trust formations. Once more, this is something power identifies with immediacy. Psalm 23 affirms the significance of serenity. He leads me beside still waters, he restores my soul. The significance of stillness in restoration cannot be overstated. It is where depth lives. Loud water is shallow, splashing over rocks, visible to everyone. Still water runs deep. Your stillness, your ability to remain internally composed while externally calm. That is the depth power was looking for, and now it has found you. Hierarchies depend on predictability. When people can be easily read emotionally, behaviorally, strategically, they can be managed. Unreadable individuals disrupt this balance. They don't telegraph reactions. They don't reveal leverage points. This forces those above them to pause, reassess, and sometimes adapt. Unreadability isn't about manipulation. It is about coherence. When your internal state is stable, you don't leak information through micro-reactions, excessive speech, or emotional volatility. Studies in negotiation psychology show that individuals who reveal music less often gain more favorable outcomes, not because they deceive, but because they control pacing, music, and disclosure. This is where discomfort arises. Power doesn't dislike unreadable people. It becomes curious about them. Curiosity leads to attention. Attention leads to evaluation. And evaluation, music, changes the trajectory of your interactions, whether you asked for it or not. This is the moment hierarchies begin to shift, not dramatically, but unmistakably. Some people influence a room before they speak. Not because they dominate it, but because their presence subtly alters behavior. This is known in organizational psychology, music, as latent authority, influence that exists without formal position or visible effort. It often emerges in individuals who are internally organized and externally calm. You have probably seen this. Someone walks into a chaotic meeting, doesn't say a word, just sits, music down, and somehow the energy shifts, people straighten up, the noise decreases, focus returns. That is not magic. That is coherence affecting incoherence. When your internal state is organized, it radiates. And disorganized systems naturally orient toward organization, like metal shavings toward a magnet. Others sense it before they, music, understand it. Latent authority works because humans are highly sensitive to coherence. When someone's words, timing, and emotional responses align consistently, the brain registers reliability. Reliability turns music into trust, and trust quietly turns into influence. You don't have to persuade when your presence already stabilizes the environment. People adjust themselves around you without realizing why. They bring their problems, music, to you. They ask your opinion on decisions that don't technically involve you. They wait for your reaction before committing to their own. This is why attempts to imitate authority usually fail. Authority cannot be performed convincingly for long. It emerges from regulation, clarity, and self-possession. When power noticed you, it wasn't reacting to charisma. It was responding to a structure that felt solid, something it could lean on without fear of collapse. Silence makes most people uncomfortable. They rush to fill it. Because silence feels like exposure. But when silence doesn't disturb you, it becomes a strategic advantage. It slows interactions down. It forces reflection. It shifts pressure, music, outward instead of inward, and often you don't even realize you are doing it. Music, in leadership studies, this is called comfortable ambiguity tolerance. Most people need immediate clarity to feel secure. You can sit in the unknown without panic. That capacity is rare, and it makes you dangerous in the best possible sense. Dangerous because you cannot be rushed into decisions. Dangerous because uncertainty doesn't destabilize music, you. And people who cannot be destabilized cannot be controlled. Which is, music, exactly why power is watching. You have likely noticed changes recently. Time feels denser. Days carry more consequence. Fewer interactions feel casual. This compression, music, effect is common in high-stakes roles where efficiency replaces excess. Cognitive load theory explains, music, this shift. When tasks matter more, the brain filters aggressively. Distractions lose appeal. Focus sharpens, sometimes, without conscious effort. This phase often feels demanding, but it is also, music, energizing, meaning increases when attention is no longer scattered. What once felt overwhelming begins to feel intentional. Distance, music, is a protective mechanism. Before granting access. Power, music, increases space, less feedback, fewer signals, more autonomy. This distance reveals how you operate without reinforcement. In leadership development models, this is known as unguided responsibility. Those who panic in silent struggle, later. Those who adapt demonstrate readiness. Distance is not dismissal. It is filtration. How you respond to it matters more than how you feel about it. If this message is resonating deeply with where you are right now and you want to support this kind of content that helps you see your true capacity, YouTube has a feature called Super Thanks. It is a way to send direct, music, appreciation for what is being shared here. Any amount, large or small, helps us reach more people who are in this exact season of being noticed, being tested, being prepared. It is completely optional, but if you feel moved to contribute, we are deeply grateful. Now, let's continue. Instruction creates dependence. Observation reveals independence. When guidance decreases, it is often a sign of confidence in your capacity to self-direct. Educational psychology supports this. Autonomous problem-solving leads to deeper competence than constant instruction. Being observed rather than directed means your judgment is under evaluation. This can feel unsettling, but it is progress. Silence here means expectation, not neglect. At some point, habits that once served you become inefficient. Your old identity, how you saw yourself, no longer fits new demands. The version of you that needed everyone to understand you, that version is dying. The version that measured worth by how many people acknowledged you, that is becoming obsolete. This friction signals growth. Identity theory shows that transitions require internal restructuring. Clinging to outdated, self-concepts creates resistance, music, and stress. The Gospel of John 12:24 speaks to this transformation. Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Something in you has to die for something greater to emerge. Not your values, not your essence, but your attachment to being understood by people who aren't equipped to see where you are going. Your need to be liked by everyone. Your fear of being misunderstood. These have to fall away. Letting them evolve restores alignment. Discomfort here is not failure. It is recalibration. Growth always breaks something first. And what is breaking right now is the old container that cannot hold what you are becoming. As influence increases, consequences accelerate. Small decisions create visible outcomes more quickly. Music, this feedback loop tightens learning, but also accountability. Systems theory explains this as increased leverage. When your position affects more variables, outcomes scale faster. Precision becomes essential. This is where discipline matters. Thoughtless actions now carry amplified impact. At higher levels, recognition becomes quieter, fewer compliments, less validation, more trust. Silence replaces celebration. Music, this aligns with intrinsic motivation research. External rewards decrease as internal standards rise. Responsibility becomes its own confirmation. If applause fades but reliance grows, music, you are advancing even if no one says it. Skill opens doors. Emotional regulation keeps them open. In volatile environments, composure outweighs competence. Neuroscience shows that emotional volatility impairs decision-making under stress. Regulation preserves clarity. Those who remain steady, music, become anchors. Anchors are rare and necessary. The book of Proverbs chapter 16 verse 32 speaks to this. Better a patient person than a warrior. One with self-control than one who takes a city. Self-control. The ability to regulate when everything around you demands reaction. That is the trait that outlasts talent. That is what separates those who rise from those who burn out. Eventually, initiative replaces instruction. Waiting becomes a liability. Action becomes expected. Leadership research identifies this as role internalization. You stop asking what to do and start deciding what needs to be done. This is not rebellion. It is ownership. Influence becomes indirect. Your input shapes direction even when you are not visible. Systems adjust around your presence. This reflects distributed music, leadership impact without spotlight. It is one of the music strongest forms of influence. When things improve quietly, that is often your signal. At this stage, observation, music, ends. Expectation begins. You are no longer being tested. You are relied upon. Reliance is the highest form of music, trust in any serious system. It is earned through consistency, restraint, and judgment. This is not the end. It is the beginning of responsibility, music, that doesn't announce itself but matters deeply. You attract people because you are internally organized. Humans are unconsciously, music, drawn to coherence, the alignment between thoughts, emotions, and behavior. When someone doesn't leak anxiety, desperation, or overexplanation, others feel safer around them, even if they cannot articulate why. Your presence lowers psychological noise, and that relief is attractive in a world filled with mental clutter. Another reason is that you don't compete for attention. People who are constantly trying to be seen create tension. People who are comfortable being unseen create gravity. Social psychology shows that individuals who don't chase approval are perceived as higher status not because they dominate but because they signal independence from music, external validation that independence reads as strength. Finally, you attract people because you listen without trying to control outcomes. When someone feels genuinely heard without being judged, rushed, music, or corrected, the nervous system relaxes. This is rare. Most people listen to respond, not to understand. Your ability, music, to stay present without agenda makes others feel valued. And that, music, emotional experience stays with them long after the interaction ends. So what do you do with this? How, music, do you carry this responsibility without losing yourself in it? How do you honor what has, music, been entrusted to you without becoming what you are not? First, protect your internal state before trying to influence anything external. This means regular moments of stillness, reflection, prayer, journaling, or silent walks. Places where you realign with your values, not your goals, not your ambitions, your values. The things that matter when no one's watching, the principles that guide you when there is no reward. Holiness here doesn't mean perfection. It means integrity, wholeness. When your actions match your inner standards, music, you radiate stability without effort. People feel it even if they cannot name it. Second, practice restraint, music, with intention. Speak when your words add clarity, not volume. Delay reactions when emotions are high. Choose responses over impulses. These small acts of discipline create a quiet authority that doesn't rely on dominance or manipulation. Music, think of it like this. Every time you choose not to react, you are building a reservoir of self-control. Every time you pause instead of explode, you are strengthening your capacity to lead when it matters most. Ethical power is built on self-control, not control over others. The moment you try to control others, music, you have lost your center. Real influence doesn't force. It invites. It creates conditions where people want to align, not where they have to. Third, use your influence to stabilize, not to impress. Ask yourself in every interaction, does this, music, reduce confusion or increase it? Does it calm or agitate? Am I speaking to add value or, music, to be seen adding value? The difference is subtle but critical. When your default impact is calming, people trust you. When your default, music, intention is service rather than validation, your influence remains clean and, music, sustainable. This doesn't mean you never challenge anyone. Sometimes the most stabilizing thing you can do is name what everyone's avoiding. But you do it to bring clarity, not to create drama. You do it to serve the truth, not to serve your ego. Here are 3 micro practices. Music, you can start immediately. First, the 3-second pause rule. Before you respond in any conversation, count 3 seconds silently. This breaks the impulse to react and creates space for intention. Most people will not even notice the pause. But you will notice how much more control you have over your words. Try this in your next meeting or family discussion. When someone asks you a question, resist the urge to answer immediately. Breathe, count, then respond. You will find that your answers become more precise, less filler, more substance, and people will start listening to you differently because unconsciously they sense you are not speaking from reaction, you are speaking from consideration. Second, conduct a weekly silence audit. At the end of each week, reflect on moments when you filled silence unnecessarily. When did you speak just to ease discomfort? Maybe it was in an elevator. Maybe it was during a pause in conversation. Maybe it was when someone asked a difficult question and you rushed to smooth things over instead of letting the tension sit. Write those moments down. Over time, you will become more aware of the pattern and naturally reduce it. This isn't about becoming cold or distant. It is about becoming intentional. Third, keep an observation journal. When you are in a group setting, resist the urge to speak first. Instead, write down what you notice, who dominates, who stays quiet, what dynamics emerge, who seems uncomfortable with silence, who seems to thrive in it. This practice sharpens your ability to read music rooms. And the more you observe, the more influential your eventual contributions become. Because when you finally do speak, it carries weight. People realize you have been paying attention while others were performing. And that attention, that awareness makes your words land differently. You don't attract people because you try. You attract them because you are centered. In a world driven by noise, speed, and insecurity, calm clarity stands out naturally. Your presence offers something rare. Steadiness without force, depth without heaviness, strength without aggression. The responsibility that comes with this is not to exploit attention, but to honor it. Influence is not about being followed. It is about being relied upon without being asked. When you lead from inner alignment, your impact remains ethical, grounding, and enduring. Stay disciplined. Stay aware. Let your presence do the work. Thank you for staying with me through this message. It truly means a lot. I hope you are taking away something that shifts how you see yourself and the season you are in right now. If you found value here, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts or questions in the comments. This is just the music beginning, and there is so much more to uncover in the upcoming videos. I cannot wait to have you back learning, exploring, and growing alongside this community. The answers are nearer than you think. And when they come, you will know that I never stopped loving you, never stopped praying for you, and never stopped believing in the greatness God placed inside you. Archangel Michael raises his sword and announces that generational curses are breaking. He says the struggles that haunted your family, the cycles of disappointment, the repeated patterns of loss will not touch you anymore. He says you are the chosen one to break the chain, to rewrite the story, to stand where others fell. He says you are the interruption in your bloodline. You are the one heaven chose to end the curse and begin the blessing. And he warns that because of this, the resistance has been greater. But he promises the victory will be greater too. He says that soon you will see doors opening that no one in your family ever walked through. You will walk into blessings that others only dreamed of. And your children and their children will inherit light instead of darkness because of your faith. The Spirit of God speaks again, this time with a gentleness that feels like the embrace of eternity. He says, I am healing you not only in your body but in your mind, your heart, your memories. He says he is reaching into the deep places you do not talk about, the wounds you carry silently, the disappointments you buried because they were too painful to face. He says, I am touching those places. Now I am restoring what was broken. I am giving you peace where there was torment. Joy where there was sorrow, strength where there was weakness. He says, this healing will not be temporary. It will be lasting. It will be complete. And it will prepare you for the new season that is coming. And beloved, your mother adds her final words for this moment. She says she is proud of you. Proud not because of your perfection, but because of your endurance. She says she has watched you fall and rise again. Break and mend again. Cry and still believe again. She says that is the proof of your strength. That is why heaven has not let go of you. That is why Archangel Michael himself is standing guard, because you are not just surviving. You are being shaped for greatness. She urges you to keep walking, to keep believing, to keep opening your heart to the voice of God, because the best is not behind you. It is ahead. Your mother's presence grows stronger now. Her voice almost pressing against the walls of your heart. She says she must reveal something you have overlooked. Something you thought was coincidence but was actually the hand of God guiding you. She says there were times when danger was near, when choices you almost made would have destroyed you, but suddenly things shifted, doors closed, or people withdrew. She says those moments were not rejection. They were protection. Heaven intervened to keep you safe. She says, do not mourn what did not work out. Do not cry over the things you lost. What you thought was the end was actually the rescue. And one day you will thank God for every door that closed because each one was saving you from a trap you could not see. Archangel Michael speaks next, and his words are filled with fire. He declares that you are stepping into a time where the lies spoken about you will be silenced. He says people may have misunderstood you, twisted your words, painted you in a light that was never true. He says those false pictures have tried to linger over your reputation, but heaven is lifting them off now. Michael says, the truth will rise. Your name will be restored. And those who once mocked you will be forced to acknowledge the light in you. He warns that vindication is near, but it will not come by your own defending. It will come by the hand of God Himself. And when it comes, it will be undeniable. Your mother whispers through tears, remembering the times you longed for her approval and guidance. She says she may not have spoken enough words when she was alive, but she wants you to know that she always believed in you. She says she saw greatness in you when others overlooked it. She says she carried that faith into eternity, and now, she pleads with you to carry it for yourself. She says, stop doubting who you are. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop believing you are behind. For in God's timing, you are exactly where you are meant to be. She tells you that the delay has been preparation. And when the right moment comes, you will be launched so quickly, it will feel like years of waiting vanished overnight. The Spirit of God interjects with words that are both firm and gentle. I am aligning everything for your good. He says, you may not see it yet, but connections are being arranged. Opportunities are being shaped. Doors are being prepared. He says, trust me with the unseen. Trust me with the silence. For I am working while you rest, moving while you wait, building while you wonder. He promises that the outcome will astonish you. That what you receive will be far greater than what you expected. And he says that in that moment you will understand why the wait was so long, because the blessing required perfect timing, not rushed timing. Your mother smiles again, this time with peace. She says she sees the angels assigned to you, warriors of light who walk unseen but never leave your side. She says you may feel alone, but you are surrounded. She says, when you wake with fear in the night, it is those angels who stand guard. When you walk into uncertain places, it is those angels who shield your steps. She says, do not fear the path ahead. You are not walking it alone. You are covered, surrounded, guarded by heaven itself. The Spirit of God interjects with words that are both firm and gentle. I am aligning everything for your good. He says, you may not see it yet, but connections are being arranged, opportunities are being shaped, doors are being prepared. He says, trust me with the unseen. Trust me with the silence. For I am working while you rest, moving while you wait, building while you wonder. He promises that the outcome will astonish you, that what you receive will be far greater than what you expected. And he says that in that moment you will understand why the wait was so long, because the blessing required perfect timing, not rushed timing. Your mother smiles again, this time with peace. She says she sees the angels assigned to you, warriors of light who walk unseen but never leave your side. She says you may feel alone, but you are surrounded. She says, when you wake with fear in the night, it is those angels who stand guard. When you walk into uncertain places, it is those angels who shield your steps. She says, do not fear the path ahead. You are not walking it alone. You are covered, surrounded, guarded by heaven itself. Archangel Michael lifts his sword once more and declares that a new season is dawning for you. He says the struggles you faced in the last season were training, shaping, refining. He says you are stronger than you realize, wiser than you know, more prepared than you feel. And soon you will see why the fire was necessary, because gold shines brighter after the flames. He promises you will step into opportunities where your past battles will become testimonies that inspire others. He says, what once shamed you will soon be the story that proves God's glory in your life. The Spirit of God speaks with power. Now I am doing a new thing and you shall see it. He says, your life will not repeat the failures of the past. He declares that the cycles of disappointment are breaking. The chains of fear are shattering. The patterns of loss are ending. He says, you are not cursed. You are chosen. You are not forgotten. You are beloved. And what is written over your life cannot be erased. His words flow like rivers of fire. And you can feel them etching themselves into your soul. Your mother adds one more truth, urging you not to lose heart when people walk away. She says you have been hurt by abandonment, but what you called abandonment was actually pruning. God was removing what would have hindered your growth. She says, do not run after those who left. Do not beg for doors to reopen. For what God removes, He replaces with better. And soon you will see why it was necessary. She says she knows it hurts, but the pain is temporary and the blessing will last forever. And finally, the Lord declares, I am near to you. Closer than your breath, closer than your heartbeat. Trust me now, for this is your hour of rising. Your mother's presence feels closer now, almost as if her spirit is sitting in the room with you. She says that in heaven she has been shown glimpses of your future, moments you cannot see yet, but moments that are already written. She says she has seen you smiling in places where you once cried, standing in strength where you once collapsed, walking in abundance where you once struggled. She says she has seen the people who once doubted you stand in silence as God's favor shines on you. She says, my child, the pain you carry is not the end of your story. It is the soil where your testimony is growing. Soon, what hurt you will be the very thing that proves God's love for you. She pleads with you to hold on just a little longer, to endure just a little further, because the shift is closer than your eyes can see. Archangel Michael steps forward again and his words cut through the air like lightning. He declares that every attack sent against you in secret has been overturned. He says there were people who smiled at you while speaking curses in hidden places, but those words have no power. He says he has struck them down with the authority of heaven. He declares, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, for you are marked with the seal of God's protection. Michael explains that the enemy has tried to exhaust you through delays, setbacks, and disappointments. But he reminds you that the closer you get to breakthrough, the harder the enemy fights. He says, this battle is the last wave before your victory. He says, stand firm. Do not surrender. What you are about to walk into will make sense of everything you have endured. Your mother's voice softens, filled with compassion. She says she has felt your loneliness, those moments when you wished for her presence, when you longed for her guidance. She says she wants you to know that her prayers have never stopped. In heaven, she is still interceding for you, still speaking your name before God's throne. She says the love between a mother and child is eternal and that bond cannot be broken by death. She says, even when you feel alone, you are surrounded by love. My love, heaven's love, and God's love that never fails. She encourages you to trust that every unanswered question, every sleepless night, every ache in your soul has been heard by the one who sees all. The Spirit of God speaks with calm authority. I am the God who redeems time. He says he knows how you feel the years slipping away. How you fear that too much time has been lost. But he promises that he can restore what was stolen, that he can make up for lost seasons in a single moment of blessing. He says, do not fear the ticking clock, for I am outside of time, and I hold your times in my hand. He assures you that you are not behind. That you are exactly where you need to be for the miracle that is unfolding. He says, when his moment arrives, everything will happen suddenly, and you will look back and wonder why you ever doubted. Your mother smiles gently, her words carrying hope. She says she knows you have felt weary of waiting, weary of fighting, weary of hoping. But she reminds you that endurance is not wasted. It is building strength you will need for the blessings ahead. She says, God is not cruel. He is not dangling promises just to tease you. He is shaping you so that when the blessing comes, you will be able to carry it well. She says she is proud of your strength, proud of your resilience, proud that you have not given up even when you wanted to. And she urges you to believe that the next chapter of your life will be better than anything you have yet known. Archangel Michael raises his sword once more and declares that new doors are opening for you. He says you will step into opportunities that were locked to you before. He says you will find favor with people who once overlooked you and you will see paths appear where there was only blockage before. He warns you not to run through every door, for not every opportunity is divine. But he promises you will know the difference, for the door that is from God will bring peace, not pressure. He says, walk boldly when the right door opens. Do not hesitate, for the time will be short and the opportunity will be clear. Your mother smiles gently, her words carrying hope. She says she knows you have felt weary of waiting, weary of fighting, weary of hoping. But she reminds you that endurance is not wasted. It is building strength you will need for the blessings ahead. She says, God is not cruel. He is not dangling promises just to tease you. He is shaping you so that when the blessing comes, you will be able to carry it well. She says she is proud of your strength, proud of your resilience, proud that you have not given up even when you wanted to. And she urges you to believe that the next chapter of your life will be better than anything you have yet known. Archangel Michael raises his sword once more and declares that new doors are opening for you. He says you will step into opportunities that were locked to you before. He says you will find favor with people who once overlooked you and you will see paths appear where there was only blockage before. He warns you not to run through every door, for not every opportunity is divine. But he promises you will know the difference, for the door that is from God will bring peace, not pressure. He says walk boldly when the right door opens. Do not hesitate, for the time will be short and the opportunity will be clear. The Spirit of God speaks again. This time with the sound of promise. I am preparing to surprise you with joy. He says the heaviness you have carried will soon be replaced by laughter. The kind of laughter that comes from relief, from sudden blessing, from unexpected breakthroughs. He says, you will laugh again. You will rejoice again. And the sound of your joy will silence the voices of doubt around you. He assures you that His word never returns empty, and what He has promised you will not be delayed much longer. Your mother finishes this portion with one last plea. She tells you to stay open, to keep your faith alive, to refuse to let bitterness poison your heart. She says she knows how hard it is to forgive, but forgiveness is the key that unlocks the next season. She says, do not hold grudges, for they weigh down your spirit. Release them and you will rise higher. Release them and you will step more freely into what God has prepared. She promises that the moment you let go, you will feel heaven's hand lift you into a peace you have never known before. Your mother's voice deepens with a mixture of sorrow and strength, as though she knows the battles you still face. She says she has seen you struggle with questions that never leave your mind. Questions of why certain things happened, why certain prayers felt unanswered, why certain people left your life when you needed them most. She says she cannot erase the pain of those moments, but she can help you see the truth behind them. She tells you those losses were not punishment, they were preparation. She says, God never takes without the intention to give greater. Every closed hand was meant to make room for His open hand. Every ending was the beginning of something you cannot yet see. She urges you to release your grip on the past so that your hands will be open to receive what is coming next. Archangel Michael speaks firmly, his voice like thunder echoing through eternity. He says you are entering a time of separation, a season when the true will be divided from the false, when the loyal will be revealed and the deceivers exposed. He says this is not to frighten you but to free you. He declares, for too long, shadows have lingered close, feeding off your light. But I, Michael, have been sent to drive them away. Soon you will stand in clarity, seeing with eyes sharpened by heaven. He says, you will not need to fight every battle with your own strength, for angelic armies are surrounding you. He promises that even when you feel weary, they are wearing for you, and no scheme of the enemy will succeed. Your mother's words soften again, filled with affection that seems to flow straight from heaven's heart. She says she is proud of the way you have carried yourself in silence. How you have chosen not to retaliate against those who hurt you. How you have chosen love when bitterness would have been easier. She says she knows the price you paid for that strength, and she assures you that heaven has recorded every sacrifice. She says God is not unjust. He sees, He knows, and He will repay. Every act of kindness that was ignored will return to you multiplied. Every injustice that seemed to go unpunished will be answered by His perfect timing. She says, you must keep your spirit tender, for tenderness is not weakness. It is proof that you belong to God. Then the Spirit of the Lord breaks through with words like rushing water. I am rewriting your story. He says you have been defined by failures, by betrayals, by the labels others placed on you. But He is erasing those words and replacing them with His truth. He says, you are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are not broken. You are healed. You are not abandoned. You are beloved. He promises that what comes next will not look like what has been. And he warns you not to limit yourself by yesterday's wounds. He declares that he is making all things new, and the newness will overtake you quickly, suddenly, unexpectedly. Your mother smiles through tears of joy as if she has already seen the miracle on the horizon. She says she has watched you battle discouragement, but she knows you will rise. She says, I prayed for you every day of my life, and now in eternity, I still whisper your name before the throne of God. Those prayers are alive, still working, still opening doors you cannot see. She reminds you that when she left this world, her love for you did not end. It only grew deeper. And she says she has asked God to let you feel her presence when you need it most, so that you never forget that you are loved beyond measure. Archangel Michael raises his sword again and announces that financial provision is on its way. He says that for too long lack has weighed you down, making you question whether abundance was meant for you. But he declares that the heavens have released resources and they are being delivered into your hands. He warns you not to despise small beginnings, for even small breakthroughs are signs that larger ones are coming. He says, do not fear the numbers you see. Heaven's storehouses are larger than earthly banks, and your provision is already set aside. He promises you will not only have enough for yourself, but will overflow to bless others. The Spirit of God speaks again, his tone tender yet filled with authority. I am restoring joy to you. He says he has seen the heaviness in your heart, the moments where laughter felt far away. But he promises that joy is returning. Not the shallow joy that fades, but deep joy rooted in his presence. He says, you will laugh again. You will sing again. You will breathe freely again. He assures you that this joy will not be dependent on circumstances, but will flow like a river inside you, unshaken by storms. He promises that the coming months will bring moments of surprise where his goodness will break through your ordinary days and remind you of his love.